Top of the morning to you, and you're welcome to Dominion Sports, where we talk all things sports on the go. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi. They say weekends are for action, and Monday definitely are for reactions. We'll be looking at the local scene this wonderful morning. Also, we'll be taking a dive straight into the European scene. All this and more on the show. I have the expert analyst himself, Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted report. Also, I have the woman that talks sport, Fola Yegbe, back on the show with so much excitement that Manchester United are finally on top 5 position, no longer top 4. Good morning to you, Samson. Let me start off with you. How was your weekend?
Well, top of the morning to you, Tolu.
It can't be any better.
You see, it has been,
Up Chelsea.
Wonderful
Up
weekend.
Chelsea.
I'm not a Chelsea fan. I'm a supporter of good football.
Okay, up shooting then.
Well, you might have a point there. Unfortunately, shooting stars,
Can you maintain a stand? Up Chelsea.
I'm not a Chelsea
Up
fan.
shooting.
Of stars.
Of stars.
Supporter of good football.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there are too many contents on their way to Bauchi, and unfortunately, they lost 2 goals to nothing. You see, when you are in such situation, you have to separate what you do when you create content and when you do the actual job. I mean,
I agree.
it got in the way. They lost focus, including the coach, and you get punished for this kind of silly and flimsy excuses and mistakes you make. Unfortunately, it cost them dearly, cost them their position in the top 4, and they will now have to contend with their next home game to see if they can go back to that position. But then, as I always say, most times this is the only league in the world where every team that competes in the league think they can actually win the league, which is totally bad. There is no way. You have to have teams in the top 4 who are strong. You have to have some teams in the mid-table, and most definitely teams in the relegation zone, because without that structure, you continue to go to the African continent thinking you want to compete, and you get whitewashed just like Remo Stars got whitewashed. So you have to maintain a status quo. There has to be a league of strong clubs in your league and some not so strong and then the weaker ones. That's how it is in all the leagues around the world. But here, we think as long as you are playing at home, you have to win, which is not so. Yeah.
All right. Fola, good morning to you. Let's hear from you. Good morning. How was the weekend?
To you. Yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, come on, look at me. I've been smiling since. I can't
radiant.
stop it. I mean, look at Man U. Look at Man U. And come to think of it, we've been impressive for so far. After the international break, they've not disappointed.
Honestly, some people are not giving you so much confidence, and I'm just going to remind them that they got defeated by Sunderland, they got defeated by Brighton of Albion. So, if you want to make your boast, I want you to do it with full confidence. How excited are you?
I'm very excited.
Beautiful.
I can see that there's some things that are changing.
I like the confidence.
I mean, look at yesterday. We didn't have, the day before yesterday, we didn't have most of the possession. But at the end of the day, we came out with something. We came out with something beautiful. So you should, nobody, in fact, nobody can even stop my confidence in Man U.
I like that. All right.
Come on.
We'll be back for that. Trust us, we'll be talking about the Premier League this wonderful morning on the show. But let's take a dive straight into the local stories starting off from the MPFL this wonderful morning. Let's look at the fixtures for match day 10. And we have an highlight for you right after we talk about the fixtures right there. Let's check out the table. Let's see what's happening right there. We have it. Castina United picking up all victory against El Kanemi Warriors. We have Kano Pillars against Niger Tornadoes. Away from home for Niger Tornadoes, picking up all 3 points is looking messy. And trust Samson Balogun, the man expert when it comes to talking the MPFL. We'll be discussing that this wonderful morning. Also, we have Eyimba picking up a victory right there against Plateau United. 2 goals. Plateau United picking up a victory. Thank you, against Eyimba United. 2 goals to 1. For a while now, it has not been easy for Eyimba. It's been struggle. Also, we have Wiki Tourist against Shooting Stars. We're going to be talking that one. 2 goals to 0. Abia Warriors against Barao picking up a victory. Abia Warriors 2 goals to 0. We have Rangers International against Kwara United, ended 1-1. Wadi Wolves against Bayelsa United, the game ended 2 goals to 0. And we have Kun Khalifat against Benjamin Insurance, the game ended 1-1. Something Balogun, let's start off from Friday and Saturday. Katsina United picking up all victory against El Kanami Warriors.
You see, it's a game of teams in the far north who are contending for a position in the mid-table. And for Katsina United, it's a big win for them. 1-0, yes, narrow victory you might call it, but it's all 3 points in the bag for Katsina United, which is going to be a morale booster for the players when traveling away from home for their next fixture. And for El Kanami Warriors, I mean, it has been a mixed performance for them this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes they've been convincing on the field of play. They have even gotten some maximum 3 points in some games. Unfortunately for them, in situations where they are meant to rise to the occasion, especially when you are playing at home, and then the altitude in Katsina and that of Maiduguri is not too different.
Yeah,
so you expect them to be, up and doing against Katsina United. Unfortunately, as narrow as it is, it's a loss for them, and that's going to haunt them, going forward in the season. If you cannot win against teams in the same region, if you cannot perform so well against teams that you play in the same region with the same atmospheric condition and weather, I mean, that should be, it's really not good enough for Academy Warriors at this time. But then, congratulations to Katsina. They were able to get all 3 points, and that seals a place for them in the mid-table.
And for Kano Pillars, let's talk about that before we watch the highlight game between Kano Pillars right there. Looking at that, it's been a massive struggle for Kano Pillars. Samson Balogun, there's a statement you make, it's no longer the Pillars, now it's crumbling Pillars at this point in time. The house of Kano Pillars is not in good form. And we spoke about them this season. We saw the plan of Ahmed Musa. We felt that with the idea of Ahmed Musa coming to the management system on and off the pitch, maybe we'll see a massive shake-up. But ever since then, it's been a massive struggle, for Kano Pillars. And on their home turf, which is not their home turf, let's just say that, because of the fine and all, they were defeated by Niger Tornadoes 2-0.
You see, let me quickly say this. Most people would clamor for an ex-footballer exactly to come take up positions when it comes to football or any other sport. But I want to unequivocally say this, that you don't necessarily become a good administrator just by being an ex-footballer or
I agree with
an
that.
ex-athlete. Administration is totally different from the game itself. Yes, you might be a fantastic player. There was sometimes ago, someone was talking to Cristiano Ronaldo and saying, look, when you are done with football, what next? He said he doesn't even know if he's going to be a coach. Because he doesn't think he can transfer his technique as a footballer to being a fantastic coach on the sideline. So there are two different things. Now, if you go from being a very good player to being a very bad coach, now you water down what you built over the years. So it is better for you to stay on the sidelines and just maintain, that stardom you achieved.
That career start.
I mean, say for example, there is a certain Gerard Piqué who played for Barcelona, won so many trophies, and as a coach, he's not coming near anything.
There's a certain Gary Neville that went to Valencia
and fumbled, failed woefully. Now, ask me this question about where Victor Valdez is. He made a statement. He said he just wants to leave, the public domain. He doesn't want to be found. And he has done that. For God knows how long. Nobody has found Victor Valdez. Yes, he might not be the best goalkeeper you would want to see between the sticks, but one thing is certain: he was able to play in a big team, rub shoulders with the big boys, rose up to the occasion times you needed him. I mean, you would want to say, oh, he's not the best of goalkeepers, but then he made some fantastic saves for Barcelona and again for Spain. But then Victor Valdez has gone to somewhere only he knows. I said, look, I don't want to be found, just leave me alone. So that you were a fantastic footballer, a fantastic goalkeeper does not mean when you come back into sport management, being a coach, or then you take a managerial role or maybe an administrator, that still does not mean you are going to be the best. So it varies on what you are bringing to the table. Now for Ahmed Musa, yes, he was a fantastic player for the Super Eagles. Played in Russia, played in England, played in so many places, even traveled as far as to Saudi Arabia. Yes, he was a fantastic player. But as that transcended it to, being a good administrator, we might not be there. We are not in the team. We are not in the dressing room or in the boardroom for Kano Pillars. But one thing is certain: you are as good as your last result. And what we are seeing on the table now does not favor Kano Pillars. And who is in charge of Kano Pillars? Ahmed Musa, for crying out loud. So the bulk of the blame, 90% of the blame will come to Ahmed Musa, and then the rest trickles down to the team. Now, a change in the coaching department was made.
Yes, yeah,
Gambo Mohamed, who was a former player of the team,
Yeah.
did wonderfully well for the team, was asked to come and rescue the team. And that's what you see. A 0-2 loss to Niger Tornadoes.
Your words are really sarcastic right now.
What I'm saying is,
I was expecting you would say something, you know.
my point is, where I'm driving out now is that, you know, it might not really be that the problem is managerial. So it might be administrative. Because sometimes there are things you do or say to players that can make or mar a football team or a team generally. Now, even in complete environments, a CEO or an MD or a general manager can say just one thing that sparks a light and then destroys the whole system.
Yeah, true.
So that's exactly what I see in that Kano Pillars team. Right. Yes, you are a former footballer, you did well, and so what? The players might say that.
Yeah.
And so what? And then after that, what happens? So the problem we have now is it's mid-season, right? You cannot sack just like we used to see in the league, where you sack 22 players. You cannot sack mid-season. You cannot sack 22 players. So automatically, someone has to go. Someone has to be sacrificed. The coach has been sacrificed, and Gambo Mohamed is there. Give Gambo Mohamed 3 games or 4 games. If you cannot turn things around, meaning that they will call for the head of the administrator, which is Ahmed Musa, who is also a player in the team.
I agree.
So Ahmed Musa is there. Long-serving captain, Rabiu Ali Pele is also in the team. So if you watch Kano Pillars, I guess we'll see the highlight now. If you watch Kano Pillars, you will see the effect of former international Abdullah Sheikh. He's also in the team. Now you will see that it's not really that the players are that poor. But one thing is certain: if you are not mentally ready or mentally fit for a football game, if you are not ready to work with a team, or you are when you talk about sabotage can be in any form.
I agree.
And that you can always see in a team. Let me cite an instance very quickly before we leave this particular topic. There was a time at Chelsea that some players came together and said, look, this coach has to go. And I will remind you what happened. When Andre Villas-Boas came to Chelsea, one thing he said is all the old players in the team, they are poor players. And he doesn't want to see them in the team anymore. So he placed all of these players on the bench, and that included John Terry, included Frank Lampard, and so many other players there, who were the senior team players in that team. So they all went back to the bench and they started playing the young guns, which was fine. You want to play dynamic football, every player should run and then get back possession anytime they miss the ball. Now, it is fine. But what happened? The team crumbled under his watch and was kicked out. Then someone else was brought in person of Roberto Di Matteo. That same team that he said was bad was used and transformed to be a Champions League winning team. That same team. Nothing changed. No player was brought on board. That was the era of Florent Malouda and some other players, even John Obi Mikel. That was the team he condemned. But unfortunately for him, Roberto Di Matteo had a brief stint, came on board, and then transformed the team. They won the Champions League. Now, the clause there was, that same Roberto Di Matteo that won the Champions League was trusted with the team the following season, thinking he was a very good coach. Unfortunately, he was kicked out of the team a few months into the season. So that you did well last season doesn't mean you are going back, coming to do. So Gambo might not really be the solution to the team. It might be administrative. And when, just like Yorubas will say, that when you have a fish and then the head is rotten, forget about the rest. It's gone.
Beautiful.
So that's the problem with the team.
All right. Trust me, when we say he's an expert analyst when it comes to talking the MPFL and football and sports, we give him the honors. Malabi, we're going to also watch the highlights between Kano Pillars and Niger Tornadoes. And when we are back, we're still talking the MPFL. Enjoy.
Niger Tornadoes was formed in 14 points. And in fact,
we have Abdullah Musa at the central defense, and we have Mukhtar Mohamed, Suleiman Idris, Aminu Sani Adamu, Rabiu Ali, the Pele of Nigeria. What a miscue there. What an attempt! A beautiful attempt!
Corner kick, Niger Tornado, Kano Pillars, a very good one. Oh no! it went. Say play on Abrashid there. And Shimenenge Tasso. Shimenenge! Shimenenge Tasso from... And that is the end of the first half. Adeni Adewale, center referee, indicating the end of the first 45 minutes.
Hey! What an attack! What an attack! What a goal! A beautiful goal for Niger Tornadoes! They're still the winning! 2-0 here at the Mohammed Iko Stadium in favor of Niger Tornadoes.
The commentary has to pause. The commentators will have to pause to ensure the safety of the camera. Well, referee Adeni.
All right, there you have it. Kano Pillars getting defeated by Niger Tornadoes on their own turf. Let's move away from that. Let's look at the table quickly. For I stay on the show, let's look at the table right there in the MPFL as we dive straight into stories around Shooting Stars. There you have it. Nasarawa United topping with 19 points. We have Abia Warriors, Niger Tornadoes. After that victory against Kano Pillars, we have Warri Wolves, Shooting Stars, draw point because of that loss to Wiki Torres. We'll be talking about that shortly. Also, Castina United on 6th position with 15 points. Ikorodu City having 14 points after 9 games played. They have a game still to play. We have El Kanemi Warriors, Eyimba, a little bit of dip in form because we saw them as a little bit of title contenders, but right now it's not working through for them.
They went few games unbeaten.
And now, you know, it's back-to-back losses for Eyimba at this point in time. We have Kwara United, we have Rivers United. They have 3 games in hand. We have Rangers International, Wiki Tourist, Kun Khalifat, Plateau United, Bayelsa United, Remo Stars, Barawa, Bendel Insurance, and Kano Pillars. Let me start off with Fola. Looking at the log of the table right now, let's take a look at those from 16 to 20. What's it looking like for these teams? How do they, get all points to put them off the relegation battle?
Well, the team I'm actually concerned for is Remo Stars. I'm not for Kano Pillars. Well, sorry for them. Okay. For Bendel.
Okay.
Bendel Insurance. They are new to the MPFL.
Yes, actually, but not new to the system of the MPFL. They are also old guns. You know, when you look at them, coming and going. Yes, they were in the league last season. Yeah, they were in the league last season.
Okay, but what's it called? I'm not surprised for where they are right now. Like you said, coming and going. Yeah. I'm not surprised. Yeah. But for Remo Stars, I am concerned because
Remo Stars still have 3 games to play. Are you still worried about them? Do you think
9 points outstanding?
Yeah,
they got all 9 points. That places them on the 19 points, and
points.
that is straight to the
top of the league. So do you see Remo Stars getting all 9 points away from their rescheduled games?
No, I don't. Okay. That's why I said I'm concerned because we saw them. We saw how the South African Mamelodi Sundowns. Did them because they washed them and said, okay, go back home. In fact, they even came to their home and beat them. Like, okay, we are coming here to show you how to play football. So I'm worried for them.
Right.
I'm worried for Remo Stars. I'm hoping that if they actually play those 3 games outstanding, they can actually do something about it.
I think the CAF Champions League was more like a distraction for Remo Stars.
Yeah, I was about
probably would have done better if they weren't engaged or engrossed with the CAF competition. This season, they actually brought in some players thinking they wanted to give attention to the CAF Champions League. Unfortunately, the squad did not have enough depth to deal with that situation. And 2, in terms of experience, the players in the team, do not have experience on what it means to play on the outside team. Now, let me cite an instance of why consistency is a problem, which I mentioned earlier when we opened the show. You see, for a team like Kwara United that was playing in the CAF Champions League against Asante Kotoko, that comes virtually every season. Now, it was strange to them. They were able to score 3 goals away from home. But when they got home, what did they do? They faltered. They could not score just 1 goal. So that's a problem. That's about experience. Because when away goal rule still works in the CAF Champions League. So the only thing you have to do is to defend and score at least just 1 goal and then seal it. But they could not do. They could not even muster one single goal. So that's the problem of incompetence and inconsistency when it comes to teams that qualify and play for these competitions. Don't be surprised that by next season you will not see any of the teams that played this season again. It will be a whole new setup. You are seeing Abia Warriors now. You are seeing Niger Tornadoes and Nasarawa United. So most likely some of them will end up being league winners and then they will go to the CAF Champions next season. Now, what the difference is, when you are talking about other leagues around the world, you always find a Chelsea, a Liverpool, a Manchester United, and Arsenal. I mean, these are teams that will consistently qualify for either the CAF Champions League, I mean, the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League Conference, and so, you know, they will always be there. So the level of consistency, the difference is not too clear because they are still playing in Europe. So they are used to playing against several teams from different leagues every season. So they have gathered the experience and nurtured the wherewithal to actually play against these teams. But how about Abia Warriors that sent away 22 players last season, brought in fresh players that have not even played in a stadium with 5,000 fans in the stadium at the same time. And you are taking them to play in the CAF Champions League where 20,000, 30,000 people would watch. Just by shouting alone. They will lose it. Take, for example, playing a game Mamelodi Sundowns. You see all the fans that came with Mamelodi Sundowns. What did they do? They came with their wolves. So the noise was even much than that of Remo Stars that were at home. So the difference is clear. See, until we begin to close up the gap between our league and that of other leagues around the world, we are still playing. We are not ready. All
right. Let's move away from the log of the table. Let's talk Shooting Stars Football Club. They lost that one here at the Tafawa Balewa Stadium, but it's not what we wanted. And I was speaking with Samson this morning, and we felt that they were a little bit distracted with the media, space. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that. We see, top clubs do that. But how do you, balance, trying to achieve the media craft and content and also bringing results on the pitch? Let me start off with you, Shooting Stars losing away from home.
Well, I think they had an issue going to, what's the name of the team they played?
To Wiki Tourist.
To Wiki Tourist. I think they had an issue going. So for them to have been able to get their acts right and come back to their senses, okay, we're about to play, it was actually
they
very
went on flights. So they went on flights. No, so they went on flights. So only 2 teams in the Premier League, in the MPFL, this weekend went on flights. We'll talk of Barao and also Shooting Stars. So, when you talk of going on flights and you're not picking up results,
there are some times that you're actually distracted, and the reason you have that distraction is not negativity. It's actually something positive happened. Maybe because I actually think for them to have gotten not even one goal, I think something was wrong. Because
let's ask the man that knows the Shooting Stars.
Something was wrong.
Yes. What happened with Shooting Stars not picking up even 1 goal or 1 point from this game against Wiki Tourist? We're here on Friday and we analyzed the game properly. We saw Shooting Stars and Rojan Rose boys.
You see, the current experience I have with the MPFL is that most MPFL coaches think that when they are going to play away from home, it is time for them to make some tweaks to the team and try something new. I mean, that's the deadliest place you can play, away from home. And that is where you should really be careful because you don't want to lose. The worst result you should come back home with is a draw. Draw is never enough. And as I said earlier, most teams think the moment they are playing at home, they should get all 3 points. And that being said, if you look at how Shooting Stars are set up this season, you would see that it's not like they have actually done so much away from home. What they have been able to do is to win 1, draw a few, and then lose some. So, meaning that their away form is not, that that good, that you would expect them to go to Wiki and get the results. But then when it comes to positivity and combining the momentum they built over 5 games, you would expect something from them traveling to Bauchi. Unfortunately, that did not amount to any form of result away from home. But the challenge now is that I want to implore the management of Shooting Stars to separate media and football itself.
Okay, I think this part is. I love this part. We're gonna get it out to them quickly.
When publicity becomes a distraction, it becomes a challenge for the team. Now, let me cite an instance. Chelsea Football Club happens to be one of the teams with the most content on social media, but they do this content even without the players noticing, right? And they post them. So it doesn't affect the mentality of the players. It doesn't affect their concentration because the attention span of a footballer is so short because they are easily engrossed with one thing or the other. Their attention is easily... The only time you see them concentrate fully is when they are on the field of play. Now, if you want to put them in the right frame of mind, I mean, stopping them while going on board for a flight is not really the best way to go to create content. I mean, you could have just created the content around how they got down and how they, got on a flight and some other things. But then, see, it's becoming more and more of a challenge for some teams. Most of the teams that are really so visible on social media in the NPFL this season, some of them are having one problem or the other.
So how do we manage the social media space and also manage an on-pitch result?
I think there are two different things. Okay. Now, on-pitch results is solely dependent on the coach, the players, and his crew, the backroom staff. But media lies solely on the shoulders of the media leader or the media officer of a team. Now, there has to be a different space. For instance, I told you that at Shooting Stars, for example, you see the media officers right on the sideline. In some other teams, it doesn't happen that way. They are not even visible. They are somewhere watching the game, and that still does not stop what they do. And creating content is done through through some other means. You have photographers on the sideline. They send you images. Most of them are sitting, and their laptops are with them. So you don't see them loitering around. So concentration sometimes might even bring about a form of performance that you would not expect it to. But there should be a way you separate these two things. Media is different from... Yes, you want to be seen. You want to be visible.
That's the word.
But people you are showing...
we're clamoring for it.
The exposure you are looking for solely depends on the result you get on the field of play. So if you don't... Just like you don't have a product, what do you intend to market? If you are not winning games, there is nothing you can tell the people. You cannot tell any story on social media.
I agree.
Now, check for most teams in the MPFL. The moment they are losing a game, their social media handle suddenly dries up. There is no update. No update. And when the update is so shallow that it's not content filled.
Yes.
But when they are winning, you see them dropping updates back to back. So it shows that they are still not being able to separate emotions from what they do. So you have to separate your emotion. First of all, you are a media officer. I agree. First of all, you are a photographer. Before you became a photographer for a certain team. So as much as you would be able to send information out there because you are winning, you should be able to do same when you are losing. So check for all the teams in the MPFL. When they are losing, they have just considered a goal. The only thing is just go to the opposition team, and that's it. Go and check the page. That's what they put there. But if they have scored a goal, you will see a graphic design that says they have scored a goal. You see a breakdown of how the goal was scored. Taiwo passed to Rashidi Yekini, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. So there's always a breakdown. So separate emotions. Separate the game from media itself. And once you are able to do that, they will be able to stand alone, and then none will affect each other.
All right.
I said they were distracted.
They actually, I agree with that. We're moving on with the speed of light. Still in the local front. Let's talk about Rivers United as they advance into the 2025-2026 CAF Champions League group stage. Rivers United defeated Mozambique Black Bull 3-1 in Uyo on a Saturday, securing a 3-2 aggregate victory and qualifying for 2025-2026 CAF Champions League group stage for the first time since 2018. Coach Finidi George, the first Nigerian tactician in 7 years to achieve this guided the team with the goals from Wasiu Folalulu, Michael Bikpo, and also Timothy Zakaria. And this win ensures Nigeria's 4th slot in next season CAF competitions aimed on going local leagues challenges. There you have it, Samson Balogun and also Fola. Massive victory for Rivers United. As we're talking, we're going to have the highlights, being displayed as we're discussing that, and also we'll be discussing about the Mamelodi Sundowns with the speed of light. But there you have it, fantastic result for Rivers United. We needed them to win, because if they did not win, we are going to have our slot reduced. But Rivers United got the victory for Nigerians against the Black Bulls. Something.
You see, thanks to Coach Finidi, who was once condemned by the NFF to be one of the worst coaches you would have in Nigeria. He has proven to be at least one of the best. Why I said that is the fact that for the first time since 2018, and that was the Yimba Football Club of Aba that qualified for the group phase of the CAF Champions League. We are now having a team in the CAF Champions League. So it's a very big one. I mean, what that means is that when it comes to coefficients as regards how good a league is, I think Nigeria has moved up a little bit. And courtesy of who? That's Coach Finidi George and his team. And it's really a very big one. I mean, that victory says a lot about what the league is about. And if you look at how they play, they knew what they were doing. They were so calm. They created chances. They converted 3 of them. And that's enough. I mean, you could see the first goal. That was a penalty. That was pure intent. The player knew what he wanted to do. He was expecting the foul. And if there was no foul, he knew where to put the ball. And definitely, it was a very big one for Rivers United. And now, what does that say about Coach Finidi George? He was when he got the job as the Super Eagles coach, and he was, he left the seat. I mean, so many people said they said so many things about him, and it was even a point where he was condemned. It was, in fact, there was a player who went berserk at the time and then condemned him on social media. And who is making Nigeria proud now? Coach Finidi George. Sometimes all you need is time and belief. When people give you time and they believe in you that you can actually succeed. In fact, it became a scare when Black Bulls equalized. It was like, oh, what will happen? What will happen now? But eventually they rose up to the occasion and got a few more goals, and then that was it. They were able to seal it. And going forward in the league, I think just like we have always been saying, Rivers United should be able to keep a huge chunk of these players. Yes, they have taken you to the next phase in the CAF competition. That says that if they are well kept, they can do better come the next season. But unfortunately, when the season ends, you will realize the fact that 12, 13, 14, 15, 22 of these players are no longer part of the team. It's not just about Europe. They have been sent away from the team. Now you will now do an open trial, bring in some players. You do open trial, bring in some players that have never played in the stadium with 2,000 viewers, 2,000 fans in the stadium, and then you expect them to go to CAF Champions League and perform. See, there's no magic in football. As long as you are not well prepared, you do not have what it takes. You are a complete jester. You are wasting your time.
I agree. All right, let's move away from the Rivers United. There you have it on the screen. Beautiful goals from Rivers United players. Also, Mamelodi Sundowns done and dusted, and they said they wanted more goals to be scored against Remo Stars. The game ended 2-0 right there in South Africa. A 7-1 on aggregate was the final scoreline for Mamelodi Sundowns. This is the Rivers United picture, fantastic team. They had the chance to put us back on the map, which they did over the weekend. But the next picture you're going to see is the result yesterday's game. Also, the Mamelodi Sundowns against Remo Stars of Nigeria. Once again, the game ended 2-0, 7-1 on aggregate. There you have on the screen, fantastic game. But let's move away from that. Let's talk women's football. Let's talk women's football. And yesterday was full of so much. I mean, over the weekend was full of so much drama. We had our calculators out already, something on Friday, and they did not disappoint us. The Flamingos went on to win the game 4-0 against Samoa, putting them in the round of 16 game against Mexico. But let's talk about that game against Samoa and also, you know, with the Flamingos team and where they are right now before there you have it on the screen. And also you'll be watching the highlight also of the game as we're talking. Let me start off with Samson quickly. Well, unfortunately, coach, the coach had to, it took the coach 2 games to understand what playing at the World Cup actually means and what changes he has to bring to the table should look like. And, you know, people lost confidence in the team. If you look at how they played, you know, if you look at how they played in the last game against Samoa, you will see confidence. Look at where the first goal came from. That was from that angle. Is it because it's Samoa? That's my question. It's not just about Samoa. I mean, Samoa scored 2 goals against France. Yeah. And they actually, when they played against Canada, it wasn't that like, yes, Canada scored goals, but they gave Canada a run for their money. I agree. So it's not just about Samoa. One thing was clear. They were precise. They created chances. They were scoring goals which they could not do against France or Canada. Yeah. I mean, how do you write a new story about a team that created about 20-something chances against Canada and lost by that margin? So it shows that something was wrong with the players, especially in attack. They were not clinical in terms of finishing, and defensively it was you know, it was shaky. I mean, when I say shaky, it's totally bad. I mean, the kind of confidence they had in shooting at goal against Samoa should have been displayed in the rest of the games. Probably, they probably would have been, you know, gotten results in these games. Look at what they did against France. Yes, they stood still at the back. They were able to, you know, seal it at the back. But when they created chances, they could not convert them. Unfortunately, France had to score in the 80-something minute of the game, which eventually ended in a draw. I was even thinking that, oh, if you cannot score goals, just keep it tight at the back and let it end that way. But yes, France broke their heart, you know, in the 82nd minute. That was the closing stages of the game, and there was nothing they could do about it. It was a loss. All right. But they were able to redeem that, you know, with a place as the one of the best losers in the team. I mean, that's the term I usually do not want to use. When they say you are the best loser in your team, I mean, that points to only one direction. You are eventually going to end up losing. I agree. I agree. You see, the challenge now is that they will play against Italy. Yeah, and Italy has not lost a single game in this competition. Playing against a Nigerian team that has lost 2 and only able to get 4 goals against a Samoa that were the whipping girls in their own group. So I don't see how they want to contend with Italy, but if the transformation we are seeing in that team continues to grow this way, maybe they can shock the world. All right, I'm going to actually follow quick. Let's talk about that one. We're going to discuss the main one tomorrow against Italy. The game is against Italy, not Mexico. That's a point of correction against Italy. And it's going to be by 8 p.m. But let me just ask you, Fola, before we discuss that tomorrow, it's going to be a major focus tomorrow. What are you looking forward to that game tomorrow? I'm hoping that by then they would have, because with everything that Samson has said, it just shows that our girls, is it that because the country Canada, they played against Canada or they played against France, the name of that country just gave them complex or what? They need to build their confidence. They need to have confidence. It's confidence they need. So, but hopefully, because Italy is not, like you said, they've not lost anything, any game since they started. So hopefully they would have their confidence by then, and playing against Italy, they will be able to give us, you know, the skill that we saw against Samoa. Okay. Hopefully. All right, let's move away from that. Let's also look at the victory against the Benin Republic. The Super Falcons of Nigeria got that victory against Benin Republic. There you have it on the screen. Fantastic win for us. They'll be coming back to MK Abiola Stadium. Samson Balogun, quickly. Well, I think they did so well by getting the maximum points away from home, scoring 2 goals. Fantastic game. But there is a point I saw in that game that I think there is a challenge which needs to be solved.
There's a Tony Payne in the team who is a creative fulcrum of the team and has always been one of the best players in midfield, who has been relegated to the bench, and some players they have had to play out of position just to fill that void. I mean, we have seen Rasheedat Ajibade playing behind the striker, where explosive energy is not being explored on the flanks. So why is Tony Payne on the bench when Rasheedat Ajibade can actually play on the flanks, and then you put Tony Payne as the woman behind the striker? Unfortunately, that's what we are seeing, and the trend has continued for a few games. And I do hope there is no agenda against Tony Payne in that.
I agree. All right. We'll be looking forward to the second leg at the MK Abiola Stadium there. Let's move away from that one. Let's talk European football over the weekend. Quickly, Chelsea yesterday defeated against Sunderland 2-1, and somebody's breathing hard at this point in time. We're going to discuss that.
Should I massage it for you?
Sunderland picking up a victory against Chelsea. Samson Balogun, I just want to ask a question now, quickly. Okay. What was going on in the mind with Tosin Adarabioyo and Trevor Chalobah when they had that position to defend the ball properly?
You see, unfortunately, it's not just about the defenders. I think a bulk of the blame should go to the coach too. I mean, when you make too many changes to your team,
I had complaints.
Every week, you don't have a starting 11. Week in, week out, is either you are playing a certain injury-prone, what's his name, Wesley Fofana, or you are playing Tosin Adarabioyo, or you are playing Trevor Chalobah, this week, Levi Colwill. So Joshua Achepong comes in sometimes too. You don't even know what your stable defensive backline looks like. So when these players come together to play, they don't even know what to say to each other. Because I didn't play with him last week, I didn't play with him the upper week, and then he's in the team. Yes, I'm not saying rotation is not allowed, but sometimes you have to be stable. You have to be stable with your starting 11. For Manchester United, if you look at that team, the way the team is set up, even when the coach was being told, oh, you have to make some changes, he maintained a particular status quo. This player plays here and not there. So he has maintained that regardless of what anybody has to say. And you look at the results now. That is consistency. That is what you are seeing. Because he has refused to change his style of play, to change the position of his players, and to change what people think about him. So he doesn't care about what you are saying. He cares about how he wants the team to play. And that's the result you are seeing. Back to back now, they are getting results. And that's where they are in the top 5 in the league. How about Chelsea that started so well? Where are they now? So when we were analyzing this on Friday, I told you Isidore is going to be a problem for Chelsea. You said so. The reason is an explosive striker and is always in deadly situations where there's nothing you can do about it. And if you check the scorers chart this season, you will see that he's been one of the ones among the goals. So it's just like that. But unfortunately, Chelsea got the first goal. They could not maintain that. How do you score a goal and then go back to sleep? So you don't do that against a team that is deadly on the counter and most definitely also wants to control the game, just like you would love to control the game. So defensively, Chelsea was whack in that game, and they paid dearly for it. I mean, at the time when they should be looking for a goal to actually as a winning goal, unfortunately, they had to concede, and then it ended in a defeat.
All right, we'll be looking at that one, and also our eyes will be set on Kayode to see if he can be part of the mainstream team for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. All right, let's look at more results quickly. We're about to wrap up the show, and let's look at more results. We also saw results from the weekend. Manchester United picking up the victory yesterday. Newcastle against Fulham. The game ended 2-1. Bruno Guimaraes, yes, 90. Manchester United also against Brighton of Albion, 4-2, and I still remain on my claim that Welbeck should make the World Cup squad for England.
Yes, you see, as I said the last time we spoke about this, I said, look, it's not about the name anymore. It's about what you bring to the table.
I agree.
Danny Welbeck, the forgotten English striker, though of Ghanaian descent, chose to play for England. He got the call up under Sir Alex Ferguson. He played a few times, and then he has been in and out of the team until he was totally frozen out of the team because of performance-related issues. And now, he's been among the goals, and not just the goals. His contribution to the team, he is the main man at Brighton and Hove Albion in a team that he had sat on the bench a few seasons ago. Now he's the main man in the team. What that tells you is his level of resilience and consistency so far has been, magnificent. And you cannot but help but just tell the English coach to look into the direction of Danny Welbeck. I mean, what he brings to the table is so massive for Brighton and Hove.
I agree. Let's look at more results right there. here in the Premier League. We're going to take, there you have it, Brentford defeating Liverpool yet again. It's a major struggle for Liverpool. We're going to discuss Liverpool tomorrow on the show. Also, you see Arsenal, taking the maximum victory against Crystal Palace. Eberechi Eze getting a goal against his former team. Now, quick one. Let's look at the table right here in the Premier League. Let's discuss that quickly. I'm just going to ask a few questions right now, just a few questions before we go. Can Arsenal maintain this momentum to get the victory, to get the Premier League trophy in the cabinet this season? Let me start off with you, Fola, quickly.
Well, over the years, they've been a team that, they impress us, and after a while, they just make us sad at the end of the day. They don't deliver. But what's it called? With Arteta right now, I'm thinking, he's getting, there's a chance. Because if they don't win any trophy this year, I'll be like, okay, next season, why am I watching you?
No, amazing.
But
the difference between Arsenal of old and what we are saying now is an Arsenal of last season or 2 seasons ago would have drawn that game against Crystal Palace, as difficult as it was. But now they are grinding, no matter how difficult,
they
are grinding out results
I think that's the mentality now. That's the mentality now.
All the teams that took points off them last season, they are being defeated this season. And if they can maintain this momentum and also get maximum points in the London derbies, I mean, that will give them leverage, going forward. So if they can maintain this level of consistency and then get maximum points from their London derbies against Chelsea, against Fulham, against every team, including Crystal Palace, West Ham United. So that for me will actually give them the opportunity they are looking for to win it. Look at Manchester City on 16 points. 16 points, and of course Arsenal on 22 points. The distance between those two teams now, Bournemouth, they are just jokers. By the middle of the season now, you see them where they belong.
Oh, don't be too
Europa League places. I'm quite sure of that. So the Europa League places. So it now leaves Manchester City, Manchester United. Manchester United started so poorly. But look at where they are now with Manchester City. They are competing with 16 points.
I mean, the only
difference between them is just 9 goals, which Manchester City scored at the beginning of the season. So if Man United can keep this momentum the way they are doing and score more goals, maybe they can finish higher for the first time in a long time. Finish higher than Manchester City on the log. But Arsenal, for me, they are the team to watch out for.
All right, Arsenal are the team to watch out for. We are wrapping up the show, but let's take a picture look at the victory against Madrid and FC Barcelona. Jude Bellingham loves to score goals and get the maximum 3 points for his side. The El Clasico was fantastic over the weekend, and Lamine Yamal was shut up totally. And that's the picture on the screen. There you have it. 2-1. What's the victory right there? Jude Bellingham getting the goal. Kylian Mbappe, you saw the game. Yes, I watched the game.
I think it was, the idea was, look, give it your all, no matter what it takes. I mean, a certain Freddy Valverde had to play with sickness. He was actually sick, but neither did we in that team. And they said, look, don't worry, I'll come on the
field. A certain Camavinga was playing on the wing.
He was playing on the wing, and it was until some substitutions were made that he had to come back to the midfield. Danny Cavalier, coming back from injury, Alcine was coming back from injury. He played. All of them had to give their all. Vinicius Junior was so livid that he could not get to go in that game. That when he was subbed off, he was really angry. It wasn't because he was angry at the coach, but he felt he could have done better in that game. They created so much chances in the first half that they could have nailed Barcelona in the first 45 minutes of the game, but they did not take their chances. Unfortunately for them, eventually Barcelona could not muster any clear-cut chance going forward in the game, and then they were able to seal it that way.
All right. That's all we can take on the show this wonderful morning. Tomorrow promises to be very exciting for you on the show. We're going to be taking interviews from Coach Nujawero and also watching the highlight against Wiki Torres. All this and more on the show. A big thank you to the producer and also to the crew for making sure Dominion Sport remains global. Something about good. Thank you so much. Do I do this now? Your motivation? Should I do this now? Can I trust you?
We'll do that tomorrow.
All right, that's all we can take. We're going to see you again tomorrow. I remain Paul Abe Tolu Wanimi. Enjoy your day. Stay blessed.